Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. It's our evening Shabbat class, the 16th of November, 2024. Okay, we'll be reading out of the Book of Baruch. Okay, I'll be reading chapter 1, maybe chapter 2. You can go to our channel, Prophets of Awakening, check out our videos. We have over 1,000 or so videos that you can examine, look at this video and get the meat out of it. Scriptures will lead you, the videos will lead you to the truth of the Holy Scriptures, okay? And for those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance. And the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament. It was given to Moses by our Redeemer, our Deliverer, Lord of Hosts. Shalom and welcome to this channel, and welcome to our evening Shabbat class. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, evening Shabbat prayer. We have the Psalms, do some current events, need to know information. Then we'll open it up for some Q&A. And then we'll go into our lesson, which is the Book of Baruch, reading out of it and breaking down scripture. Okay? This moment of silence is for the Lord of Hosts and all that He's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Okay? O Lord, righteousness belongs unto Thee. Therefore we come before Thee at this hour, seeking our face and looking for righteousness and uprightness, that we may walk before Thee as our servants David and Solomon and Samuel and Hezekiah did. O Lord, allow Thy face to shine upon Thy people. Hear our plea, hear and do, O Lord, and hide not Thy face from us any longer, for we need You so very much at this hour. Peace be unto You. Okay. With that being said, read a song. Okay. Okay, I'm going to read Psalm 35. It's a prayer for rescue from the enemy, Psalm of David. Okay, it says, plead my cause, O Lord, with them that strive with me, fight against them that fight against me. Take hold of a shield and buckler, and stand up for mine help. Draw out also the spear, and stop the way against them that persecute me. Say unto my soul, I am thy salvation, and let me be confounded and put to shame that seek after my soul. Okay, let them be confounded and put to shame that seek after my soul, and let them be turned back and brought to confusion that devise my hurt. Let them be as chaff before the wind, and let the angel of the Lord cast them, chase them, and let their way be dark and slippery, and let the angel of the Lord persecute them. For without cause have they hid. For without cause have they hid for me their net in a pit, which without cause they have digged for my soul. Let the destruction come upon him at unawares, and let his net that he have hid catch himself into the very destruction. Let him fall, and my soul may be joyful in the Lord, and he shall rejoice in his salvation. All my bones shall say, Lord, who is like unto thee, which delivereth the poor from him that is too strong for him. Okay, and him that is too strong for him. False witnesses did rise up. They laid to my charge things that I knew not. They rewarded me evil for good, to the spoiling of my soul. But as for me, when they were sick, my clothing was sackcloth. I humbled my soul in fasting, and my prayer returned unto my own bosom. Okay? Hold on a minute. Okay? I behaved myself as though he had been my friend or brother. I bowed down heavily as one that mourneth for his mother. But in my adversity, they rejoice and gather themselves together. Yea, and the abject gather themselves together against me, and I knew it not. They did tear and cease not. With hypocritical markers and feasts, they gnashed upon me with their teeth. Lord, how long wilt thou look on? Because rescue my soul from their destruction, my darlings from the lions. I will give thee thanks in the great congregation, and I will praise thee among the people. Let not them that are mine enemies wrongfully rejoice over me, neither let them wink with the eye that hate me without a cause. For they speak not peace, but they devise deceitful matters against them that are quiet in their land. Yea, they opened their mouth wide against me and said, Aha, aha, our eyes have seen it. This thou hast seen, O Lord. Keep not silent, O Lord. Be not far from me. Stir up thyself and awake to my judgment, even unto my cause, my God and my Lord. Judge me, O Lord, my God, according to the righteousness, and let them not rejoice over me, and let them not say in their hearts, Aha, and so will we have it. Let them not say, We have swallowed him up. Let them be ashamed and brought to a confusion together that rejoice at mine hurt, and let them be clothed with shame and dishonor that magnify themselves against me. Let them shout for joy and be glad that favor my righteous cause, yea, and let them say continuously, let the Lord be magnified, which have pleasure in the prosperity of his servant. And my tongue shall speak of thy righteousness and of thy praise all the day long. Okay. Anybody have any comments on that? Okay, nobody? Yeah, so we can see right here in the song that what David doing is giving the Lord praise for all the things that he's done for him. And he actually, like I said, when you understand who this is that he's praying to, it's not JC, because of the way that he's addressing him. You know it ain't JC. And he continuously uh, praying for his enemies to be destroyed. Okay, but like I said, you go to the New Testament, they tell you to turn the cheek and love your enemy like yourself, because you don't add up. Okay, so with that being said, we go to our current events. Okay, we'll play this and then we'll talk about it.
About a Harris fundraising email that raises the volume on a very small change that was made to a Kamala Harris website, signaling that the campaign might just be interested in saving democracy from the convicted felon, adjudicated rapist, and insurrectionist Donald Trump. It's almost 1 week after a shocking Trump victory, but facts keep stacking up that call the victory into question and make Donald Trump's track record of cheating the more distinct possibility. Facts like Tina Peters was sent to jail for breaching the software of Colorado voting machines and giving access to that data to other people. Facts like Trump's legal team was able to breach Georgia voting machines in 2021. Facts like voting data is showing a distinct correlation between the amount of undervotes Trump received in battleground states and his margin of victory in those states. Facts like Elon Musk's Starlink was used to transmit data from voting machines to tabulators. Facts like Elon Musk's Starlink satellites have now crashed down to Earth, almost like they contained evidence. And those are the more high-tech facts. How about simple little low-tech facts, like over 60 bomb scares were called into heavily Democratic precincts, but no bomb scares called into Republican precincts? And can we just dwell on that last one for a minute? The FBI knows as fact that those bomb scares to heavily Democratic precincts originated in Russia. And instead of complaining about election interference, Democrats at the top, like Merrick Garland and Joe Biden, are sitting around saying, "Those dirty, rotten scoundrels." Trump was screaming about election interference because of Saturday Night Live, threatening to pull the licenses of the broadcast networks and priming up to use the government as a retribution machine. And Democrats are frozen in place on acting on these things because they don't want to appear like Donald Trump. Okay, so first of all, you're never in a million years going to look like demented Donnie, who sees and lies about conspiracy theories anytime there's a microphone near him. And if there is one lesson you should have learned over the last 9 years, it's this. As soon as Republicans see that there is a legitimate course of action for Democrats to take, they start screaming bloody murder and accuse you of the very thing you are refraining from doing. Like, weaponizing the Justice Department. They accused Biden and Merrick Garland of doing just that. With our own 2 eyes, we saw Trump lead an insurrection. He should have been arrested on January 21st, but Merrick Garland wanted to protect the integrity of the Justice Department. So this is how you protect integrity, by allowing people to break the law and get away with it. You allowed the threat of Republican protests to prevent you from upholding the law. The lesson we learned here is to stop cowering in fear over Republican accusations. They're going to accuse you anyway. Democrats are out here begging for people to do something about election integrity because we need more than just a recount. We need a forensic analysis of voting machines, but no one is doing anything about it. Until now. Mueller, she wrote, just tweeted that the Harris Victory Fund just sent out this email. $250. That is the donation we are asking you to make to the Harris Fight Fund program today. $250 because there are U.S. Senate and House races that are either too close to call or within the margin of recounts or certain legal challenges. $250 because we have to do what we can to win those critical races and defend the outcome of the ones we have won in court. $250 because it will all add up fast when you and others like you are united in making sure every vote is counted and every voter's voice is heard. And this email follows up on a small change that the Harris Victory Fund made to its website last week. Again, Mueller, she wrote, retweeted this headline: Harris fundraising fine print signals recount effort. The Harris Victory Fund, a joint fundraising committee that allows contributions to her campaign, the Democratic National Committee, and to state Democratic committees, quietly updated the information on its donations page on Wednesday morning. The donation page now says that a portion of money donated to the fund will be allocated to Harris for President's recount account, signaling that Kamala Harris's team is gearing up to watch the count of votes in contested states closely. This is a razor-thin race. We need your help to make sure every vote is counted, it says. The Harris campaign didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. And then Mueller, she wrote's comment is this: as I've been saying, I trust the Harris campaign and their lawyers. Mueller, she wrote, has a point. The person who was just cheated out of the presidency is a former prosecutor. She's not about to put up with criminal behavior. And as a prosecutor, she knows it's best to keep your cards close to your chest and not signal to the opposition what you're doing.
Okay, anybody heard about this?
Shalom. No, sir. But I had a feeling something was going because of the Democrats being very quiet.
Right, yeah, well, they got some coming, some brewing. Yeah. Is that something? Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
what's that?
No, I was saying yes, sir.
Okay. Got another one right here.
Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're tackling a pretty hot topic, the growing bond between Burkina Faso and Russia. If you've been following international news, or if you're just curious about what's happening in Africa, you've probably heard whispers or shouts about this partnership. And let me tell you, it's got a lot of people in the West feeling uneasy. But why? Well, it's not just your typical political handshake. This partnership goes way deeper than just military support, or even talking about nuclear technology. Yep, you heard that right. So is this relationship good news for Burkina Faso, or is it just adding more heat to the ongoing power struggle between Russia and the West? Stick around because we're breaking it all down, and trust me, you won't want to miss this. First off, why is Burkina Faso suddenly in the spotlight? Well, not too long ago, the country went through a major shakeup. A coup happened, and the new government was ready to try something different, shaking up its foreign relationships and finding new allies. Enter Russia. Now, this wasn't your average, hey, let's be friends scenario. It was a lot more calculated. Burkina Faso has been dealing with some major security issues for years, and they needed a strong military ally. So, naturally, they turned to Russia, a country with serious military expertise and a track record of stepping into global conflicts, especially when it challenges Western powers. But why did Burkina Faso choose Russia? And why now? Let's dig a little deeper. Russia's role in Burkina Faso. All right, here's where things get juicy. Russia wasted no time in getting involved. They quickly started sending military advisors and equipment to Burkina Faso. But here's the thing. When a country partners with a superpower like Russia for military support, it's never just about weapons and tanks. It's about strategy, training, and, more importantly, influence. But that's not all. Burkina Faso and Russia also signed a bunch of official agreements, known as Memorandums of Understanding, or MOUs, if you want to sound fancy. What's in these agreements? A lot of things, but the big one that stands out is their cooperation on nuclear technology. Yep, nuclear. But before you freak out, let me clarify. They're talking about using nuclear tech for peaceful purposes, like energy, education, and infrastructure development. At least, that's what they're saying on the record. And get this, Russia even reopened its embassy in Burkina Faso after more than 30 years. 30 years. That's a pretty big deal. Clearly, Russia sees something in Burkina Faso worth investing in. But what exactly is it? And why is the West so anxious about it? Let's find out. Western concerns. Why is everyone freaking out? Now, this is where the story gets really interesting. The West, and when I say the West, I mean countries like the US and most of Europe, isn't exactly thrilled about this blossoming friendship between Burkina Faso and Russia. But why? For one, anytime Russia starts cozying up to an African nation, the West gets nervous. They fear it could tip the balance of power in the region away from them and give Russia more influence. And nobody in the West likes the idea of losing their stronghold on Africa. But the really big question that's got everyone on edge is this: is Burkina Faso working with Russia to get nuclear weapons? Yep, you heard that right. The West has seen Russia share military and nuclear tech before, and they're not too keen on seeing another country, especially one that's teaming up with Russia, becoming a nuclear power. Also, let's be real. The West has been heavily involved in Africa for a long time. Losing their influence in a key region like West Africa to a major player like Russia is not something they're going to let happen without a fight. But this raises another question. Is the West really concerned about Africa's sovereignty and well-being, or are they just afraid of losing control? Now let's flip the script for a second and look at things from Burkina Faso's perspective. Why are they teaming up with Russia in the first place? Are they just trying to stir up trouble? Not exactly. For Burkina Faso, this partnership is about survival. They've been dealing with internal conflict and insurgencies for years, and they need military power to stabilize the country. Aligning with Russia is their way of boosting their defense without relying on Western aid, which often comes with a lot of strings attached. But it's not just about weapons. Burkina Faso sees Russia as a partner that respects their sovereignty. They feel like Russia isn't trying to dictate their policies or tell them who to align with, unlike some other countries. And honestly, smaller nations often get caught in the middle of power struggles between larger nations. This might just be Burkina Faso's way of saying, We're making our own decisions now. However, is this partnership really as beneficial as it seems, or is there more happening behind the scenes? Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, nuclear technology. Nuclear power can be a game changer. It can help fuel entire cities, advance education, and transform infrastructure. But let's be honest, when most people hear the word nuclear, their minds jump straight to one thing, weapons, and that's why the West is freaking out. Sure, the agreements between Burkina Faso and Russia say that the nuclear tech is for peaceful purposes. But how long will it stay that way? Even if Burkina Faso genuinely wants to use nuclear power for energy and development, there's always going to be that lingering question, what if? What if Russia helps them develop nuclear weapons? What if this peaceful nuclear cooperation spirals into something more dangerous? These are the questions that nobody has solid answers to yet. Will Burkina Faso become another country with nuclear weapons? And even if they don't, could this partnership still cause tensions with neighboring countries in the West? It's hard to say right now, but one thing's for sure, there's a lot riding on this. What could this partnership mean? So, what happens next? If this Russia-Burkina Faso relationship keeps growing, it could lead to some major shifts in the region. A stronger military for Burkina Faso could mean more stability in West Africa. That might sound great on paper, but increased military power can also bring new problems. For one, Burkina Faso could become a bigger target for terrorist groups. Plus, the West might not just sit back and let this happen. On the other hand, Russia's involvement in Burkina Faso is a clear sign that they're here to stay in Africa. And if other African nations start following Burkina Faso's example and build closer ties with Russia, we could see a huge shift in global power dynamics. That's definitely something the West doesn't want to see. And let's not forget about the nuclear angle. Even if Burkina Faso isn't building bombs right now, just the fact that they're working with Russia on nuclear technology is enough to make people nervous. This isn't just about energy and education anymore. It's about power, control, and who gets to call the shots in Africa.
Okay, any comments on that? Okay. Guess we need to know information right here.
We had only been CTPAC.
Major is about to happen, and it's going to happen very soon in the matter of just a couple of months. Now, I want to break down what's going on, but experts say that we are about to see a massive amount of downsizing, which means layoffs are coming in mass. Now, I'm going to break this down in just a moment, but understand it doesn't matter which industry or which business you work for. You could potentially be out of a job very soon. So I'll break all this down in just a moment, explain what is going on, but all I ask is one thing, takes 2 seconds, go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates, and now let's begin. So I know a lot of people are going to say, you know what, you've been talking about mass layoffs for many months. We haven't seen it yet. Actually, we have. What we haven't seen is a specific company come in and lay off 10,000 people, 5,000 people, 2,500 people. That's not what we're seeing, although just the other day, we did learn that GM is going to lay off about 1,000 people here very soon. Okay, but that's not a massive downsizing, is it? No. This is the reason why we are discussing a massive downsizing, or what some say is government waste. Look at this. It says federal employees brace for potential mass layoffs in Trump's second term. And it's because of these two people right here. Yeah, we're going to get to this article. But what you need to understand is that this is something we saw coming. We knew this is what President-elect Donald Trump was getting to. It was just a matter of time. Federal employees are already being told that they need to prepare because come February, okay, come February or March, there could be a huge amount of layoffs, a massive downsizing. Just look at this. It says federal employees are anticipating significant upheaval as President-elect Donald Trump prepares to return to the White House. Many workers are anxious about potential mass dismissals and drastic changes to the federal workforce, recalling the challenges they faced during Trump's first term. Keep in mind, many federal employees were let go. They came back under the Biden administration. Now they face a second term under the Trump administration. Well, this time it could be different. Just look at this. It says this time, however, the threat appears to be even more severe with Trump's plans to establish a Department of Government Efficiency led by billionaire Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, aimed at slashing regulations, cutting jobs, and restructuring federal agencies. Now, I have many friends and people I talk to, obviously, here on YouTube as well. And a couple of my friends said one thing the other day. Their job is likely gone in the next 4 to 6 months. It's gone. The agencies that they work for are likely through. Now, I'm not going to say which agencies these are. One person I will say, okay? One person, it's not the agency that's going to be going away, but his position within the agency will likely be done. He works for the kind of the Forest Service, parks, something like that, I guess. And he's already said that his hours are already being reduced, and it looks like his hours will be reduced to 0 come about the middle of February. I don't know what this is going to look like. I don't know what we're going to see, but I do know if it's these two that are leading the Department of Government Efficiency, we are likely to see them become more efficient. Just think about Tesla. Think about Tesla, for example, using artificial intelligence, okay? Using technology to limit how much we are actually driving a vehicle. Just think about that for a second. What could Tesla do to become, or help the government become more efficient? Yeah, we'll see. But listen to the statement that Elon Musk made. He says, this will send shockwaves through the system and anyone involved in government waste, which is a lot of people. Goes on to say the Trump campaign likened the significance of this effort to that of the Manhattan Project, the top secret scientific and military endeavor conducted during World War II, tasked with developing the world's first nuclear weapons. Okay, but listen to what Ramaswamy called it. Okay, this is, again, interesting. He said in a post on X on Wednesday, Ramaswamy called for a massive downsizing to combat what he called wildly unlawful practices in the United States government. Additionally, Musk had suggested reducing the number of federal agencies by approximately 75% through any major changes to government funding would require congressional approval. Okay, that is exactly true. But here's what you need to understand. It requires government approval, which means it requires the signature from the president, needs to pass the Senate, and pass the House. Who controls all three of those things? Republicans. So if Republicans are serious about changing the trajectory of where we are going, this is one way to do it. You cut 75% of the agencies, yeah, that would do it right there. It says right here, people are apprehensive and fearful. Okay, they are. Many people are. And again, I've talked to several friends of mine, one of which he said that he isn't too concerned about his position because he has a very high up position in one of these federal agencies. And he's been offered many different positions elsewhere in the technology sector. He does work in IT, so that obviously helps. But it's in the technology sector is usually where he's getting offers from. These are from Amazon and Microsoft and Expedia and places like that. But here's where I think things are interesting. He said he's not too concerned because if he leaves his job with this federal agency, he just goes somewhere else to actually make more money. He just likes where he works. He likes the people that he works with. He likes the schedule, right? He just likes it. It's a federal position. It's pretty safe. but the other position has more money. Here's why millions of people should be somewhat fearful, and not government employees. If government employees leave and they have, let's say, 5-10 years of history, guess what? They take that 5 to 10 years of history, move it over to the kind of the private sector. Okay, they move it over, and now you're working with the actual real live companies, right? Your Amazons, your Starbucks, your Walmarts, those companies, your McDonald's. They're likely going to get a better position than somebody else that has worked a similar job but was not a federal employee. That's what's scary. So even if you're not a federal employee and you have a job, let's say as a manager of Walmart, guess what? If a federal employee comes in and they were managing a certain division, they come in and say, you know what, I want to manage this Walmart. Most Walmarts would be like, yeah, okay, let's see what you got. Test them out, try it, and then probably put them on. That's the concern, according to experts, is that we're gonna see potentially 100,000 jobs just open up. Look at this right here, okay? It says the upcoming Trump administration is anticipated to employ various strategies to reduce the federal workforce. These may include large-scale transfers of high-ranking officials and relocating entire agency offices. Trump has already pledged to move up to 100,000 government jobs out of Washington, D.C.
Okay, so we're looking at mass layoffs, and then also we got mass deportation. That in itself is chaos. Anybody have any comments on that? Anything they want to inject? Okay. So like I say, get ready. This ain't gonna be easy. But I'll open it up for anybody have any questions or comments about anything they heard this morning or during the week. They want to talk about something they came across. They want to share with the class. Okay. Thought this right here was pretty interesting. I'm gonna play this and then we'll start reading out of the Book of Baruch. It's like we've been had all these migrants flooding into America. I think it's gonna start happening in Africa. Everybody's gonna start flooding in Africa. Check this out.
French Africans are leaving France for Africa. There was a documentary that was published by BBC, and in that documentary, there are Africans, young Africans that were born and raised in France that plan on leaving France because of racism, and they are tired of being treated as a second-class citizen, even though they are French. This documentary explores what is driving some first-generation French Africans to seek new beginnings in Senegal. This new documentary uncovers their aspiration and also captures the challenges they encounter as they strive to build new lives far from what they know. And these young French Africans share their experience, how they have been treated, how they're done with that treatment, and how their family members and friends disagree with their decision because they would like to stay in France. People are different, people are allowed to make their own decisions, and people's experience might differ from each other, even if they're in the same family, even if they're neighbors, even if they are friends. So this documentary shows the challenges, but also it should show us, the rest of us, what kind of life our children and grandchildren will be facing if we don't fix our continent when we are here now. Because a lot of the diaspora that left the continent, not everyone is making it, not everyone is happy in their own situation. Even if the parents are happy or the parents are willing to sacrifice, their kids are growing up feeling like they're missing out, feeling like the way they're being treated is not fair where they are, and they'd rather go back to their ancestral land, to their grandparents' land, and they're tired of the unnecessary discrimination and racism that they face. So would you like your kids to feel this way? If a few years down the line, your child comes and tells you, I'm ugly because I'm this color, or I don't feel like I belong because I am this color, I am from this country and they don't like me. How would that make you feel? Why would you want to put yourself through that? Of course, you are allowed to make that decision, but also if we fix our own countries, we don't even have to go through that. Imagine that majority of us in the continent of Africa are black. So the discrimination, the racism won't be here if we build our own. We don't have to be looked down on. We don't have to beg for respect. We can have a good life in our own country. Like, I think we can avoid so many situations if we stick it out and if we prioritize our own instead of going out there and building somebody else's country. But then again,
So we see the same thing that happening right here in France. We saw it happening in other Great Britain and other European countries over the last couple of weeks, or last couple of months. Over in Great Britain, all those Europeans, Britons came in the streets and started attacking the people of color, the Africans. So it's like I said, it's like it's flipping it upside down. Where we've seen all those mass migrations from over in Mexico and South America coming in America. I can see it. They fleeing these countries going back into Africa, and they made all kind of predictions and charts and all this map saying that by 2030, like 80 to 90% of the population gonna be in Africa. You can already see it starting. Anybody have any comments on that?
I do remember seeing that brother Leonard, I think it's called Agenda 2030 that Africa got, where they was talking about that the world, like 80% of the world's population would be there by that time.
Right. They know that. That's why Russia there. That's why China there, because they know that's what's getting ready to happen.
Right.
It's going along with prophecy. Like I said in Isaiah 60, it says that sons and that daughters gonna come from afar. From where? From the west. Coming back. You see it already. It's been started a long time ago when way back when I was talking about the decade of people of African descent. They had this decade from started in 2014, 13, all the way to 2024. You see it. That's where all this coming from. And the Republicans and the whites are rebelling against it. A lot of them probably don't even know about it, but they just see the progress and how the establishments and how we rising. And they got a problem with it. Okay. Anybody else got any comments on that? Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm reading out of the Book of Baruch, and I'm reading out of I'm reading the first chapter, and then we'll just deal with it as we go. It's got a lot of information in here, and like I said, everybody's trying to figure out how this thing's gonna play out in the end. But if we just go back to the right places and go to the right books, we'll see how it plays out. That's letting you understand. So I'm in the Book of Baruch, chapter 1, verse 1. It says, "These are the words of the book that Baruch, the son of Nero, son of Masha, the son of Zedekiah, son of Hadasha, the son of Hilkiah, wrote in Babylon." So this one they in the captivity in Babylon. It's like I say, it's 3 waves that went into Babylon. The first wave was Daniel and that group, and Ezekiel and all them went the first group. Then 2 other groups went after that. Right? It says, so right here, this is the first group that went into Babylon. It says, so this who Baruch, which is Jeremiah's scribe. The Hilkiah wrote in Babylon in the 5th year on the 7th day of the month, at the time when the Chaldeans took Jerusalem, burned it with fire. And Baruch read the words of this book in the hearing of Jeconiah, the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, in the hearing of all the people who came to hear the book read. So this Jeconiah is Jehoiakim in Ezekiel chapter 1. So this died of David's lineage, right? And so, like I said before, for the first time in Judah and Jerusalem history, they had two kings. They got a king in exile that the Nebuchadnezzar and them took from Babylon, from Jerusalem, took him to Babylon, and then he made Jehoiakim, changed his name, and made him king in Jerusalem. So it's two kings, one of them righteous and one of them not. Okay, so it says, and in the hearing of the ears of the nobles and the princes, and in all the hearing of the elders, and in the hearing of all the people, small and great, in fact, of all who lived in Babylon. See that? So this Baruch is what Jeremiah wrote is for these people that's in Babylon, the first group that went. And they raised money, each one giving what he could, and they sent it to Jerusalem, to Jehoiakim, the high priest. So notice right here is you got a Jehoiakim that's in David's lineage, and you also got a Jehoiakim in Aaron's lineage. The high priest is named Jehoiakim, right? The high priest, the son of Hilkiah, the son of Shulem, and to the priests, and to all the people that were found with him in Jerusalem, when he took the plate of the house of the Lord that had been carried away from the temple to return it to the land of Judah, the silver dishes which Zedekiah, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, had made after Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had carried off Jeconiah and the officers and the captives and the nobles and the common people from Jerusalem and taken him to Babylon. And they said, here we send you money. So buy with the money burnt offerings and sin offerings and incense and prepare a grain offering and offer them upon the altar of the Lord our God and pray for the life of Nebuchadnezzar. Check it out. Pray for the life of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and the life of Belteshazzar his son, that their days may be like the days of heaven upon the earth. So why is he telling them to do that? Because Jeremiah told him, you're going to Babylon for 70 years. You're going to serve Nebuchadnezzar. You're going to serve his son and his grandson. That's the 70 years that they're going to do in Babylon. So that's why when they was in the book of Daniel, in chapter 9, that's why Daniel started fasting and praying, because he looking at the time. And he said the Medes and Persians that came. Jeremiah told them they was going to serve Nebuchadnezzar, his son and his grandson, they was gone. Now the Medes and Persians there. So Daniel alone, that's why he started praying. Okay. So anyway, it says, here we send you money. So buy with the money burnt offerings, sin offerings, incense, and prepare a grain offering, and offer them upon the altar of the Lord our God, and pray for the Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and for the life of his Belteshazzar his son, that their days may be like the days of heaven upon the earth. And the Lord will give us strength, and he will give us sight. He will give sight to our eyes, when we will live under the shadow of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and under the shadow of Belteshazzar his son. And we will serve them for a long time and find favor in their sight. Pray for us to the Lord our God, for we have sinned against the Lord our God. And this day the anger of the Lord and his wrath have not turned away from us. So read this scroll which we send to you to make your confession in the house of the Lord on the festival days and on the days of assembly, and you shall say, uprightness belongs to the Lord our God, The confusion of faith, as on this day, befits us, and the men of Judah, and the residents of Jerusalem, and our king, and our officials, and our priests, and our prophets, and our forefathers, for we have sinned before the Lord, and disobeyed him, and we have not obeyed the voice of the Lord our God, so as to follow commands of the Lord which he set before us. For the day when the Lord brought our fathers out of the land of Egypt, until the day we have been obedient to the Lord our God, and we have been neglectful in not obeying his voice. So I want to shine a light on this right quick. So notice how they keep saying obeying his voice, obeying his voice. And then he just said that from the day when the Lord brought us, our fathers, out of the land of Egypt, right? So let's look at it. I'm in Exodus, right? Exodus chapter 23. This is what a lot of people reading over and not getting an understanding of what's going on and who it is that we're dealing with. So 23, in chapter 23 of Exodus, verse 20. And the Most High, Yahweh, tells Moses in verse 20, behold, I send an angel before thee to keep thee in the way, and this angel gonna bring thee into the place which I have prepared. Then 21, beware of him. Not don't beware of me, beware of this angel. Not JC, beware of this angel, right? Obey his voice, provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. So let's go back and read that again. So he says, the Lord commanded them, and they came out of Egypt to listen to this angel. He's going to lead you. Obey his voice. So when we go back to the scriptures, we see it says, uprightness belongs to the Lord our God. That's this angel. But confusion of face, as it is this day, befits us, the men of Judah, and the residents of Jerusalem, and our kings and our officials, our priests, our prophets, our forefathers. We have sinned before the Lord. This angel is the one that's before them, and disobeyed him, and we have not obeyed the voice of the Lord our God. So you can't get out of that. So we see this angel is the one they're not to obey. So as to follow the commands of the Lord which he set before us, right? From the day when the Lord brought our fathers out of the land of Egypt, this angel, until today, we have been disobedient to the Lord our God, and we have been neglectful in not obeying his voice. And misfortune have attended us, and the curse, right? Check it out. And the curse has come upon us, which the Lord agreed upon with Moses, his servant. So what curse he talking about? Let's look at it. It's in Deuteronomy 32. Let me see, make sure. Deuteronomy 32. Okay. Yeah, Deuteronomy 32, like I said, this is a song that Moses sung to them. And so what Moses is telling them was the Most High, the Lord of hosts, came and gave him insight on what they were going to do after he passed. So verse 30, Deuteronomy 31 and 30 says, Moses spake in the ears of all the congregation in Israel the words of this song. See that he sung it until they were ended. Then you go and you read verse 32. You tell them. You see, I'll just read some of it. It says, "Give ear, O ye heavens, and I will speak, and hear, O ye earth, the words of my mouth. My doctrine shall drop as the rain, and my speech shall distill as the dew, as the small rain upon the tender earth, and the showers upon the grass. Because I will publish the name of the Lord of hosts, his angel. Ascribe ye greatness unto our God. He is the rock. His work is perfect. For all his ways are judgment. A God of truth and without iniquity, just and right in is he." Okay. They have corrupted themselves. So here you go. This is the curse. Right here, he started telling them what they're going to do when he leave. The Lord had showed him all this. They have corrupted themselves. Their spot is not the spot of his children. They are perverse and crooked generation. Do ye thus requite the Lord, O foolish people and unwise? Is it not he that thy fathers that have brought thee, and he have not made thee and established thee? Remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask thy fathers, and he will show thee thy elders, and they will tell thee. So this song right here, this song of Moses, chapter 32, that's the curse. And it's tied to Deuteronomy 28. So that's what they're talking about. And so earlier I was reading, I didn't stop, but he said that they're looking at the curses, and he said the curse is still on us. So it ain't off of us. So like I said, look at what everybody's saying about 2019. They said the curse is over in 2019, but the curse is still on us. So something wrong. Okay? Let me read that right quick. See if I can find it. It was earlier. It says, and Baruch read the words of this book in the hearing of Jeconiah, the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, in the hearing of all the people who came to hear the book read, and in the hearing of the nobles and the princes, and in the hearing of the elders, and in the hearing of all the people, small and great. In fact, all who lived in Babylon by the river Sud. Then they wept and fasted and prayed before the Lord, and they raised money, each one giving what he could, and they sent it to Jerusalem, to Jehoiakim the high priest, and the son of Hilkiah, son of Shulem, and to the priests, and to all the people that were found with him in Jerusalem. But when he took the plate of the house of the Lord, they had been carried away from the temple to return it to the land of Judah, with the silver dishes that Zedekiah the son of Josiah, king of Judah, had made after Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. They carried off Jeconiah and the officers and the captains and the nobles and the common people from Jerusalem and taken them to Babylon. Let me see. Go back up. People keep going. I can't see. I don't see it. I'll find it. So it says, verse 19, chapter 1 of the Book of Baruch, it says, when the Lord brought our fathers out of the land of Egypt, until the day we have been disobedient to the Lord our God, and we have been neglectful in not obeying his voice, and misfortune has attended us, and the curse has come upon us, which the Lord agreed upon with Moses his servant, Deuteronomy 32 and 28. On the day when he brought our fathers out of the land of Egypt to give us the land that ran with milk and honey, as they have this day. And we did not obey the voice of our Lord our God, expressed in all the words of the prophets whom he sent to us. But we followed each one the design of his own wicked heart, so as to serve other gods and do what was evil in the eyes of the Lord our God. So the Lord made good his word, which he uttered against us, and against our judges who judged Israel, and against our kings, and against our officials, and against the men of Israel and Judah. Nowhere under heaven has such a calamity occurred as he has brought upon Jerusalem, as it is written in the laws of Moses, so that one of us ate the flesh of his son, and another of us ate the flesh of his daughter. He has made us subject to all the kingdoms around us, to be a reproach and a desolation among all the people about us, where the Lord has scattered them. They were brought low and not raised up, because we have sinned against the Lord our God and not obeyed his voice. Unrighteousness belongs to the Lord our God, but confusion of face befits us and our forefathers, as it does this day. All the calamities with which the Lord threatened us have overtaken us. Yet we have not, says, yet we have not besought the Lord by turning away each of us from the design of his wicked heart. And the Lord has watched for these calamities and has brought them upon us. For the Lord is upright in all his doings, which he has commanded us to imitate. Yet we have not obeyed his voice and followed the Lord's command, which he has set before us. Okay? And now, Lord God of Israel, who brought your people out of Egypt with a strong hand and with prudence and wonders, and with great power and with uplifted arm, and made yourself such as the name as yours is today. We have sinned, we have been ungodly, we have done wrong. The Lord our God, in the face of all your ordinances, let your anger be turned away from us. For few of us are left among the heathen, where you have scattered us. Listen, Lord, to our prayer and our petition, and for your sake, deliver us and grant us favor in the eyes of those who have led us into captivity, so that the whole earth may know that you are our God. For Israel and his descendants are called by your name. Lord, look down from your holy dwelling and think about us. Turn your ear to us, Lord, and hear us. Open your eyes and sit and see. For the dead who are in Hades, whose breath has been taken from their bodies, cannot ascribe glory and uprightness to the Lord. But the soul that grieves greatly, that goes about bent over and sick with failing sight, the soul that hungers will ascribe glory and uprightness to you, Lord. For it is not for the upright. Okay, it's not for the for it is not for the upright acts of our forefathers and our kings that we present our prayer for pity before you, O Lord our God, for you have inflicted your anger and your wrath upon us, just as you promised through your servant the prophets to do when you said, thus says the Lord, bow your shoulders and work for the king of Babylon and stay in the land which I gave to your fathers. But if you will not obey the voice of the Lord and serve the king of Babylon, I will put an end to the sound of joy and the sound of gladness and the voice of the bridegroom, the voice of the bride in the towns of Judah and in Jerusalem, and the whole country will become untrodden and uninhabited. But we have not obeyed your voice and served the king of Babylon, and you made good your words that you had spoken through your servants the prophets, that the bones of our kings and the bones of our forefathers should be taken out of their places, and behold, they are thrown out to the heat by day and to the frost by night, and they are perished in great misery by famine and the sword and exposure. And the house that was called by your name you have made as it is today because of the wickedness of the house of Israel and the house of Judah. Yet you have dealt with us, O Lord our God, with all your forbearance and all your great compassion, as you promised through your servant Moses to do when you commanded him to write the law before the sins of Israel and said, unless you obey my voice, here we go again, this buzz and multitude will surely turn into a small number among the heathen, where I have scattered them. I know that they will not listen to me, for they are a stiff-necked people. But in the land which they are carried away, they will come to themselves, and they will know that I am the Lord their God, and I will give them minds and ears to listen, and they will praise me in the land which they are carried away, and they will remember my name, They will turn from their obstinacy and their wicked doings, for they will remember what befell them, their fathers who sinned in the sight of the Lord. Then I will restore them to the land that I swore to give their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they will possess it, and I will multiply them, and they will not be despised. So, like I said before, this didn't happen before. The predicament that we in. It happened in Egypt, and then it happened right here. It's happened in Babylon, and we in the same predicament again. But notice what it says. What the Lord said. This is the Book of Baruch, chapter 1, verse 31, 32. I will give them. See that? This was we're in the midst of this right now. I will give them minds and ears to listen. It ain't nothing nobody else can do to stop it. So he says, I will give them minds and ears to listen, and they will praise me in the land to which they are carried away. That's where we at. And they will remember. See that? So although everything they've done to our books and all that, can't stop it. It says, and they will praise me in the land in which they are carried away, and they will remember my name. It ain't JC. It ain't Yahushua. And they will turn from their obstinacy and their wicked doings, and they will remember what befell their fathers who sinned in the sight of the Lord. Then, see that? Then I will restore them to the land that I swore to give their forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they will possess it, and I will multiply them, and they will not be despised. And I will make an everlasting agreement with them that I shall be their God, and they shall be my people, and I will never again remove my people, Israel, from the land which I have given them. O Lord Almighty, God of Israel, the soul in anguish and the weary spirit cry out unto you. Listen, Lord, and have mercy, for we have sinned in your sight, for you abide forever, and we perish forever. O Lord Almighty, God of Israel, hear the prayer of the dead in Israel, and of the sons of those who sinned in your sight, who did not obey the voice of the Lord their God, so the calamities have pursued us. Do not remember the iniquities of our forefathers, but remember your power and your name at this time. For you are the Lord our God, and we will praise you, O Lord, for you have put your fear into our hearts for this reason, that we should call upon your name, and we will praise you in our exile. For we have put out our hearts all the iniquity of our forefathers who sinned in your sight. Here we are today in exile, where you have scattered us to be a reproach and a curse and condemned for all iniquity of our forefathers who rebelled against the Lord our God. Hear the commandments of life, O Israel. Listen and learn wisdom. Okay? So, with that being said, we're going to cut it off right there. Any comments or questions? Anybody got anything? See who this is. Okay. Okay. Anybody got anything else before we go? Any comments on anything I read, or you got something that you thought about you want to talk about? Okay. We at an hour. Okay. No comments. Okay, there we go. See you. They want to be here. So nobody have anything? We're gonna close it out right here. If nobody don't have anything to talk about, or questions or comments. Okay. I highly recommend that you get this book and you read it, because it's a must that you understand who God head is in the order that's in the Old Testament and Tanakh, because it's not the same as in the New Testament. And when you read this and you get an understanding, then the scriptures open up, and then you begin to understand. So I highly recommend that you get this book. It's the Elohim of Israel